that you were
Right.
taught.
Yeah.
It has to be very well chosen, your pupils that you pass on later on.
Right.
Excellent. Now, that's wonderful. And when you Feng Shui a business or Feng Shui people, how do they work that into their daily routines after they've been Feng Shuied? Do they have to do something special, like knock on a door or do something to create a daily blessing after Feng Shui? Or after you're done, do they just go about their business?
It varies from case to case because most of our clients are the Jewish tradition, Korean and international. So everybody has their own spiritual routine. But except Feng Shui, the way that we practice is taking the nature, incorporating that into our space. So that means the 5 elements of the individual, whether it's wood, water, fire, we incorporate that into the colors of the space, the material we bring in, the plants, the water fountain. So it's within that space that if they want to do a ritual every day, incorporate that into their own routine, they can. But Feng Shui in the form that we do is it's not culture or time, barrier.
I actually like the fact because when you said Jewish, somebody who's Jewish, they have their culture. The Koreans have their culture. The Chinese have our culture. Right. We will let you know what we do normally in our culture, and you work around that because it's a college scheme and how to move things in your home and business. Right. So it has nothing to do with culture, but it's part of that in knowing that that's part of their routine.
Exactly.
Excellent. Now you have a Master Punyin, you have such a wonderful track record and clientele in the United States here. And I know your father began it doing a lot of work in China, and it didn't become really surfacing here until you, actually. Now, your track record and clientele has created such an influx of interest with both the Asian and non-Asian businesses, as well as the individuals seeking out your consultation services. Now, how do you feel why that came about?
When we helped Mayor Giuliani and Renaissance Hotel in early 90s to turn Times Square into entertainment district, there was the Feng Shui we'd done there and the ceremony that really launched publicly to the world that they are going to take another path in turning that into a different usage. And that ceremony we did went overseas, the same night as world news around the world. So that was a part that international attention. And then when we did the Trump International Hotel and Tower on Columbus Circle, everybody to this day in the field or anyone that's curious about Feng Shui talks about Trump, being a Feng Shui client. Although many of them do not mention who's the master behind it, but it was early 90s when we got involved with him that became Feng Shui the trend it is today in America and in the West.
Oh my, I remember that time. You were actually on Conan O'Brien, all those wonderful talk shows. I've seen you on that. So actually, I was very surprised that Donald Trump actually was interested in this. Who would have guessed, an Asian culture of this field? And Donald Trump actually wanted to know about it and hired and sought for your services. So that's very interesting. And speaking of track record, you have a long list, and I just want to read just a few, because of the fact that they were people that sought for your services here in New York City, and it's not just Asian. And I'm just going to read a few. In addition to the Trump International Hotel and Tower on Columbus Circle, Mandarin Oriental Hotel, HSBC Bank, which is huge now, First Republic Bank, P-Loans, they're not even Asian, they're European, and Theory, Eli Tahari, Governor Hospital, and my favorite, Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center Integrative Medicine Service. From the list I just read, which project was the most memorable at a personal level for you?
It's got to be Sloan Kettering.
Why?
That is the project in the 35 years of my experience most touched my heart. Because that was the area that was going to be used by the patients, the outgoing and the families to have their rest between all the treatments. So that was the the Feng Shui drawing that I started doing with them that they built, and later on the whole amount of the consultation fee I donated back to the cancer research in Pho. So that was one that touches my heart. Although the Trump deal and the Times Square brought me a lot of glories and the media attentions.
In fact, I feel that time with the Trump, when it began, that actually was a turning point in spearheading so much attention into America here, that this is it. This is what Asian investors demand for a lot of the businesses that are not owned by Asians, but they needed their investments and everything. Why did you feel that? Well, first of all, tell me, when Sloan Kettering, when they brought about, how did they bring about to you that question to Feng Shui? Why? Why